Hey everybody, Ben here from the Bonehead podcast, and we've got something different at the moment. We've got something different for now. So it's not Blood Bowl, and normally we only really do Blood Bowl stuff, but I had a Kickstarter land with me this week from Microworld Games, which is for 6mm Crusader Knights, basically. So if you're old school Warhammer Fantasy, as you can see on the screen, kind of Bretonnian, with kind of like an element of mighty paladins, so foot knights, which you didn't really get with the last few iterations of Bretonnia. So I backed this Kickstarter, and the models arrived today, and they are so much fun. So 6mm Fantasy is one of my... I just love it. I love it as well. I love 10mm for War Master, but 6mm with the same kind of bases, you can do 6mm War Master. But also, and this is something that our gaming group had an insane amount of fun with, is doing what we call small hammer. So 40mm by 20mm bases, 6mm Fantasy, mostly from Bacchus or from Microworld Games. 10 guys to a base, 4 or 5 cavalry, whatever works. And we played Warhammer Fantasy Battle 6th edition, basically counting each base as 10 guys or 5 cavalry, and it was an insane amount of fun. So when this Kickstarter landed, I knew I had to back it. I backed the what did I back? So I backed the Crusader Basic Bundle, which got me 1 Crusader Command Pack, 1 Trebuchet, 1 Special / Cavalry Pack. I went for these knights here, you'll see in a sec. I went for the Halberdiers, and I went for the archers, as well as one of the stretch goals, because this Kickstarter did really well. I was very tempted by the regular infantry. They had some cool angel ogre sized miniatures, but I went with these guys, the Chosen of the Light, which are basically paladins with big maces. I kind of got the Stormcast vibe, you know, they're called paladins. I just kind of wanted these guys to back up my regular infantry. Anyway, the Kickstarter was funded, did very, very well. They had all kinds of cool stretch goals. They did very, very well. I got it today, so let's cut to me having a look at the models. Okay, so I got the Crusader Basic Bundle, which allowed me to have the command pack here, the Ballista, 1 unit of knights or big dudes, so I went for the Lancer Cavalry. We had 3 units of infantry as well. I went for Bowman, Halberdiers, and the Chosen of the Light, which are basically guys with heavy weapons. So these guys are 6mm, which is pretty small. So we'll do what we can to show off the detail. This is the command pack. So in the command pack, I think you get 20 guys. So let's have a quick look at some of them. Let's go for something cool. Let's go for this flag dude. So we can have a good look at the miniature. So we can see some of the detail here. You can even see that the barding on the horse has got grooves. Like I said, very small models. And you've got the reins as well on the horse, so this is going to paint up beautifully. Microworld Games miniatures always have a lot of detail. I have far too many of them. But you can see the horse reins, you can see the shield. These are going to paint up excellently. So a few of the models have come a little bit bent, but because it's metal, you just very, very gently, because these are small guys, just stretch it back into place, and with a bit of a stretch there, it'll be fine. You can again see, hopefully from the video, the detail on these guys. He's got like a sword in the ground. Got a commander on the horse there, knight face. These guys are really tiny. And we've got some infantry command as well, which will be useful for the other units that we've got. Now this guy I'm super excited to paint up. It's like a Knight Lord just posed with sword in hand. I think he's going to have to go on a little bit of a raised base, bit of a bit of a scenic base for this guy. And another hero on foot, sword, shield, helmet, big robe. These guys are going to base up brilliantly. They're going to be really fun to model as well. And as you can see, you end up with 3 of each of the command pieces. So that's going to be quite useful when we plan out our units. And next up, we have got the Trebuchet. So the Trebuchet is pretty cool, and it's a pretty chunky model as well. It comes in only a few parts, which is incredibly useful. So it's got a base plate here, and you can see it's got divots in which to mount the pieces itself. The body and the weight is 1 part, and there's just a second additional bit for the other feet, which are here. So this actually fits together really well. So boop, there you go. Goes in like that, into place, and then fits into the feet on here. And it's an absolute monster of a model. Let's see if I can do this right first time on a camera. There we go. Probably not right, but there we go. So it goes together like so. You get 3 crew around it as well. And as we look for size, I've got some. I've got a 25mm base here. Let's see if we can't. I'll ignore the base for now because I will probably base it like this. You can see that it will fit nicely on a 25mm round. If you're going for War Master, it will fit just about on a long base like this, so you can get the crew in there, you can get a little bit of scenic work, and that's the beauty of this scale, is all about the kind of building up the drama of the base, so you can get that on there with the crew. So we've got here the Knights, and this is the Lancer Cavalry. I went for the Lancer Cavalry because I figured it was kind of a generic option, and what I want to do with these guys, these will be the best. They had some cat riders, they had some big angel guys as well, but I went for the generic infantry. And let's get some footage of the detail. Again, you probably can't see brilliantly because it's quite small, but the detail on them, you've got the barding, you've got the reins, you've got the individual armor segments. I absolutely love these dudes. So some of the lances are a little bit bent, but like with the banners, won't take a lot of work. Some have got little bits of flash on the end here, so with a little bit of prying, actually it just comes off, and then you can just snip the end to your taste. And you don't want it too spiky, because when you've got a whole bunch of tiny dudes lined up, it will be very painful. And as you get 20 knights in this pack, it's up to you how you want to base them. So I've got the 20x40 here that you kind of use for War Master. So I've put 4 knights on there. You'll be able to see that there's actually plenty of room to put bushes and things like that. So you've got 20 guys. So if you go for 4 on a base, you'll end up with 5 individual cavalry bases. The command pack has got some knights with banners as well that you can sneak in there to kind of fill out the units. I think they will probably look best with 5 guys, like so. You just get a kind of grander kind of unit feel. You can space them out. I'm going to paint these guys separately, then base them on, and that's the kind of the way I found works really well at this scale. But there you go, 5 knights on a base, looks pretty tasty. So they'll get 4 individual bases of cavalry out of this unit. And next up, we've got the Conscript Bowman. So this pack has got 60 individual bowmen in it. So it's an absolute ton, and we've got 3 packs of infantry, so it's over 180 individual guys. So let's have a look at these sculpts. So let's just pick a random guy. This one will do nicely. There we go, perfect. So you can see there, you can see the cowling around the neck, you can see the face detail, you can see the bow, you can see the hands that spin them around, you can see the back of the cowl there. So this is going to be an absolute delight to paint up these guys. I'm going to be mega lazy. I'm going to go for a brown undercoat and just pick out the colours that I want. So it'll probably be brown, blue on the cowling, and a silver. I'll give him a helmet, silver helmet. So these guys are going to take no time at all to paint. There's plenty of detail. And you've got mixed sculpts in there as well, so slightly different helmet on this guy. You can kind of see the jerkin, you can see the quiver there as well, so it's going to be fun to mix these up on the base. So we're doing the 40x20mm base test again. All I've done is put these guys on there, so they're probably going to fall off as we spin them around. So I have gone for 10 guys on this base in 2 rows of 5. Now, we've got a few command guys as well to go on there, so, you know, from the command pack you had the banner dude, and you've got the individual man-at-arms sergeant bloke. So you've got people you can fill it out with. I actually quite like the effect of 5x5, but the cool thing is you can kind of mix up the formations. So maybe put 6 in the front line, you know, ram them in there, and then 4 loading on the back. It's going to give you some opportunities to play with basing. But yeah, I think 10 to a base is more than enough, which means in this pack of 60 you get 6 individual bases. So if you're playing War Master, that's 2 units of bowmen. Next up, we've got the Halberdiers. So again, another 60 of these, and these are the Conscript Halberdiers. So again, looking for lightly armoured. They've got the big shields, they've got the big halberds, and 60 of them is an absolute chunk of metal. So let's pick a guy. Look at that. You can see the detail from here even without zooming in, but we'll give it a go anyway. There we go. So you can see there's face detail. You've got the helmet. You've got the jerkin. You've got the big old shield. These are going to paint up brilliantly. Again, I'm going to be lazy with this. Just brown, a bit of a wash, and then pick out the details to really make them pop. But the big space on the shield for this guy, let's grab a different dude, see if we've got a different sculpt. might be a different sculpt. Yeah, the shield's at a slightly different angle. It's going to mean that I can paint like a two-tone effect, like a chevron or something. And that's the cool thing about 6mm scale, is you don't have a ton of detail. You just kind of pick out the top bits and it makes the model pop. And we've done the unit test again, so we've put 10 guys on here. So you'll see there's actually quite a lot of space. These guys tend to be flat on, as in they're quite flat and pretty straight on. So I think with these you might have to do a little bit of creative basing. Now they'll rank up well enough, but I think because of the way the bases are, they're quite wide. They might actually have to have a little bit of cutting to make them fit. Now it's not a massive job, and the way you kind of build these units anyway, you kind of put the front line, so you glue them on, you do the sand, then you put the second line on afterwards and kind of just base in between. So I don't think it's going to be a problem. And again, we've got 10 guys on here, 2 rows of 5. You can mix it up, you can chuck an extra guy here, there, everywhere, you can bunch them up, you can spread them out. So I think 10 to a base will be absolutely fine. And again, with 60 and the flag chaps and stuff from the command pack, you're going to end up with 6 whole bases on 40x20, which means 2 basically solid units for Warmaster. And last but not least, we've got the Chosen of the Light. So what these guys are basically foot knights with heavy two-handed weapons. So I got these guys because I thought they looked pretty cool and would be really representational of like some of the Age of Sigmar big Sigmarine guys. I don't think they have heavy weapons like this in old school Bretonnian for Warhammer and things, but I mean they work for not Reiksguard, those are the guys, the Carroburg guys, the Halberdiers, not the Halberdiers, the Great Swords, that's what I'm looking at. So you can see the detail on these is brilliant again. Now where these guys are fully armoured, I don't think I'll go for my brown spray with this one. Or if I do, I'll go brown and then I'll go immediately over it with metal, with metallics. Because the cool thing is, and this is why I'm excited about these models, is the rest of my unit, my army, is going to be brown, blue, green. You know, there's going to be that muddy look. Then we've got the Foot Knights, and I want them to gleam because these guys are sculpted as kind of like paladins. Let's get a different model there. So you can see they've got a cool pose there where he's just resting on his sword. So yeah, it's going to be metal, it's going to be light metal, and then you can kind of just put bright colours on the head plumes and the cloths on the back. So the army is going to be like brown with bowmen and halberdiers, and then you've got these little tiny holy god warriors, which I think is going to look really sweet. And we got this sculpt as well. I think they're all just going to paint up really well. And of course we'll do the unit base test, so another 40x20 here for Warmaster. I was kind of hoping these guys would be significantly big enough that I could pull off doing 8 to a base, but actually I think you could do 9. You could do 9, like have the ranks slightly scattered to represent these guys are individually greater warriors. But 10 per base is going to be great, and because the pack comes in 60, even with a couple of heroes thrown in, you're going to end up with a bunch of sweet bases. And again, it's going to be 2 units of 3 bases if you're using some kind of Warmaster derivative. The great thing about this is elite. This is definitely an elite unit, so if you're doing a different kind of game, you may only need a few bases of these. Which means you've got individual heroes, and that's something I didn't mention, is that this guy here particularly, where he stood holding his weapon, is going to make a wonderful independent hero. So there you have it. I absolutely love these miniatures. I thought it was worth putting a video together because you're going to see them for the next few weeks on Whip Wednesday. So every Wednesday our show comes out saying, well, I've been painting, and you guys send in your submissions as well, and we have a look together at the hobby we've all been achieving. I love Microworld games. I love 6mm fantasy. It's just so cool. The basing is great fun, and I'm looking forward to getting some more of this stuff painted during lockdown, just for the lols. So yeah, drop us a message if you've got any ideas for rule sets. I mean, we've got a good couple, and let me know in the comments what you think of Microworld games, because I am a huge fan of these guys. Anyway, thanks ever so much for watching, and we'll be back to Blood Bowl and regular stuff soon. See you later.